Nobody's listening, right?
Hi, Andy.
Hey.
Is anybody listening?
Holy shit. We got the two most recent reviews are new listeners.
Oh my gosh. I think I know why.
From Susan from Midwest.
Yes.
I'm listening, and what a great find. To answer your question about how you're found, Monica Padman recommended you. Glad I listened.
Love that Monica Padman.
Thanks, Susan. We got Jacqueline Icacia.
Okay.
New listener. I'm absolutely listening. I heard about your podcast because of an episode of Armchair Expert.
Oh my gosh.
Monica said that her favorite new podcast is back. So I checked it out. I so love your relationship and laughs. I live alone, and your conversations keep me company through the day.
That
my
is
gosh,
so
thanks.
amazing.
And there's more and more and more. It's amazing.
Wow. Well, thank you, and welcome to our two new listeners. And anyone else who may have found us.
Listen to this one from Miranda 20. I couldn't love these two more in the most non-creepy way. By far my
I believe
favorite
that.
podcast.
That doesn't feel creepy at all.
I like to creep on people, though. But I love the support. But I like the creepy stuff.
Very, very excited about that. That's awesome. So we have had, since our last episode, quite a week.
Hell yeah.
We went to Hawaii,
Yeah.
and had like our first fish family vacation. It was incredible. So much fun.
Loved it.
Ate so much food, drank so many pina coladas, went snorkeling, met turtles in the sea, swimming, got more sun than I've gotten in the last 10 years combined.
And I didn't get any sun. I really came through.
You just couldn't have dealt the blow. You just never would have lived it down had you gotten your standard severe sunburn.
Yeah. For if you're new listening to this, I have a history of really reckless, horrible sunburns.
One of
Irresponsible sunburns.
Irresponsible and also like comically
Embarrassing?
yes, comically embarrassing, but also like the way the sunburn happens. In most cases, you can clearly see the fingerprints of where the sunscreen was applied, and then also with the like lobster red skin showing how sloppy it was. And the most notable one, obviously, being the horrific facial sunburn you got on our wedding. The day leading
eve of our wedding.
The eve of our wedding.
I looked beautiful.
In Mexico.
It's, we don't have to dwell on this very long. Let's give it 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand then how horrifying that must have been for you.
Yeah.
But I do now. And I also didn't understand then how probably 90% of the guests at that wedding thought it was one of the funniest and probably most ridiculous and felt bad for you things they'd ever seen too.
Bad for me.
But lucky for me, I had no idea back then. I was just so clueless.
Lucky
but now,
for you, I guess.
You.
But
no, lucky
also,
for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
but
it didn't
not
cloud
for me.
my experience.
Well, that's great. Very glad.
I'm acknowledging you now, though. I see you now.
I know, but
and
it
you
still
seem
feels
annoyed, but I see you now.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you didn't realize so much back then.
I mean, I'm sure I felt bad, but I don't think I really understood how ridiculous it is until with some years. And
for anyone who's wanting, you know what, I'll post it on our Nobody's Listening Right Instagram. I mean, you and I have posted over the years, but we want that fresh for people to check out. And I'll actually post a more recent sunburn Andy had on his back.
But nothing from this last trip
Nothing
week.
from this last trip. We did have a grand old time.
Yeah. I don't think it could have gone much smoother.
Yeah.
Like our kids were like
Great.
crazy chill the whole time. We
Yeah.
really didn't have any big meltdowns or anything really.
No. Only one thing bummed my scene out a little bit during the trip.
What was that?
It was that I kind of almost made a friend. And then I followed her on Instagram, and in an act of aggression, she accepted my follow, but did not follow me back.
You are making the biggest mistake right now, and I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not going to edit this out. I refuse to edit this out. You're being so careless and so short-sighted.
Well,
what if she just hasn't gotten around to it? What if she's a big fan that was about to leave an iTunes review and is listening right now? You know exactly
I can tell
who you
you
are.
she wasn't a big fan. And honestly, it's sad because I looked up to her. She's like very smart, successful businesswoman. And I thought we kind of like had a thing. And then it turns out like, then when that happened, I realized.
Wait, explain again what happened. You followed them on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then that day, they had a private account.
Yes.
So they accepted your follow, but did not immediately follow you back.
And didn't for days after.
You've checked since?
Oh, yeah. I checked religiously. And the minute we stepped foot out of the resort, I unfollowed her.
But you know what? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait, went on it and be really real right now.
I will.
When did you unfollow?
In the airport.
You're full of shit.
No, I'm not.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So petty. But this is what happened, though. Let's
so
be honest.
Petty,
What can
but
I say?
I also will say, I feel like, okay, I have so many thoughts on this. I do feel like you and I live in this magical world of our making and circumstance that we have like these fun, creative friends. We do stupid stuff like this podcast and have so much fun doing it. And I don't know.
So the second someone doesn't affirm that, you just unfollow them?
Can you let me speak?
I have so much I want to say, but yes.
By the way,
yeah.
not the week to speak over women. Or maybe it is now that we're officially second-class citizens. I don't know. It's your call. But anyway, Andy was about to say something and then just totally shut down. I'm sorry. I think that I saw her through this lens of me making new friends, and I love people, and when I meet new people, I'm like really excited to get to know them. And I found it very interesting meeting someone who works in an industry that has nothing to do with entertainment, because honestly, it's rare.
And I don't
At
know
this
if
point?
I don't know if I can say this, and please tell me if I shouldn't say this. You thought you were going to make a new boss bitch friend.
I hate boss bitch, but yes. Yes.
A power player. This is someone that's probably been in like magazines in like the top
Yes.
30 most powerful women or something, like
Something big.
Some cool stuff maybe that you were
Yes.
like, ooh, power. And we all know you like power in your fantasies.
Okay, Andy, shut the fuck up.
Sorry.
Okay. So I thought, oh, like maybe we've connected, and she seemed very friendly and nice. And I almost am worried that when I followed her on Instagram and then when she looked at me on Instagram, it was like, what is this Yahoo? Who's like, her life seems like a joke. She does this podcast, and who are these people? And like, she's a real grown up. And I am not. And I don't think I've ever seen it through that lens. Whereas I will say there was a shift. Not a notable, not like so noticeable, but the next day, and who knows if I was projecting or whatever, but like hanging out in the pool the next day, there was less, I don't know, interest, and there were other women there that I was talking to that seemed more invested, which is totally...
Because they hadn't looked at your Instagram yet.
Well, no. Yes. And it's totally all fine. I just want to say this. Like, she was on vacation with her family. Do whatever the fuck you want. If you don't want to, you know, I tried not to impose and stuff. But anyway, it was a little bit like, Oh, because I really did like her and I still really respect her and look up to her, but I feel like it wasn't mutual. And you can raise your hand and say, maybe she just hadn't gone around to it yet. That's really not how this works.
Question.
Yes.
Dream case scenario. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You guys chit chat, you're connecting, you follow on Instagram. She follows immediately right back, hearts a couple photos, maybe. Dream scenario, play out the next like couple months to, I don't know if you're really dreaming big, 2 years from now.
Can I tell you something?
Please give me the dream case scenario.
I went to dinner with some girlfriends last night.
Mm-hmm.
I did bring this up.
Okay.
Bringing it up a lot.
I'm glad
Brought
you're
it up
doing
at work.
And again, I will not edit any of this out.
I am already cringing, actually. But again, I think we've established there's no world wherein she's going to hear this. But I brought this. I went to dinner with 3 of my closest dear girlfriends last night.
Mm-hmm.
Brought it up to them, and 2 of them were like, one of my like closest, this woman I love so much, I consider her a close friend, even though I haven't even spent that much time with her. I met on vacation 10 years ago, and we've blah, 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 blah. Kept in touch, da-da-da-da-da.
Not where I thought you were going with this. I thought you were going to be like, and this is like, they just don't follow me back on Instagram. Quite the opposite ride.
Well,
I
you
just
were
got
saying,
taken
you
on.
just said dream scenario,
No,
and
yeah,
I'm saying,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
for me, it feels very much like, first of all, this is the first vacation we've done in a long time. It is very exciting to me to meet someone and feel like I connected with a new friend. Like, how often do you do that? And here in LA, if you meet someone you like, you're like, first of all, where do you live? If it's anything west of Hollywood, like, bye-bye, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a pen pal from Santa Monica, but...
If they have a private jet, potentially, makes things easier.
But, and also, I just thought it was really cool to meet someone who is so successful in their career and has a family. And, I thought we really had something and we didn't. And it's fine. I just want to say it's fine. But that was the only kind of like buzzkill on the trip. And I hadn't felt, it's really interesting. It's probably good as our kids are going into like adolescence. The sting of like wanting to be friends with someone and then not getting it is, and by the way, if you saw me in Hawaii, you wouldn't be like, who's that sad girl in the corner who's...
Well, the whole Instagram follow thing happened towards the end of the trip, so it didn't really cloud the trip.
There were 2
fortunately.
days after that happened that I, was clocking how things were going between us. But
Got you.
anyway, all good. And it didn't really cloud my trip. I'm saying that like half in jest.
I don't think until this moment I really realized how much this did mean to you.
I don't think it's just something interesting. I actually now want to walk back how
I bet you do. I bet you want to edit some of this out, don't you?
kind of, but whatever.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you sharing.
You didn't make any friends.
Wrong. Last night we were there.
Oh, yeah.
I made a good friend, and I wish you could have seen me with this other dad. You would have been like, those 2 are going to be thick as thieves. And guess what? Our story might not be over yet because we exchanged phone numbers because our kids became such good friends.
Within, 20 minutes. There was like a 20-minute period of time where this happened.
And it was like they were soulmates. And then me and this guy really got along great. So guess what?
But see, that's what I mean.
The story
Things
is
can-
unwritten.
I feel like when you're on vacation, like things can happen fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie. This woman, I talked to her like for 40 minutes and I probably was just reading into and getting swept up in the excitement of like meeting someone on vacation. But this was the type of place, the resort we stayed at was called the Mauna Lani in Hawaii. It's the type of like, it's upscale. We definitely splurged. It's our first family vacation ever. But also kind of like communal, like the restaurant's just kind of outside. All the kids are running around. It feels very like you can be very private if you want to, but also you can be very communal. And I loved the idea of us making friends that then by the like second to last night, we would be like, do you guys want to have dinner together?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that probably could have happened with the dad I met the last night.
Oh, okay.
To be honest.
Cool.
Like, I think I could have really sealed that deal where you couldn't, but for sure. Wow. I really do appreciate you sharing that. I feel like it's sweet.
But it was wonderful, restorative. It almost feels like a dream. Like, did that happen?
Yeah, it was it was so smooth. And like the last day we got up a little early, we went swimming with the kids again, and then it's like, yeah, and then that, and like looking out at the ocean, and then that night we're in traffic on a Saturday night in LA trying to get home at 10 o'clock, and it's taking forever.
Yeah.
Well, I got something that took me down a peg or two that I would like to share with you. That happened to me.
I would love to. You know that I would love nothing more than to
And
hear
I think
this.
you are going to be the one that takes me down a peg or two, because I have something that really buoyed my spirits that I haven't told you about. And you're going to understand why I told you about this, because you're going to be like, oh, but this happened. Here we go. 2 weeks ago, between a week and 2 weeks ago, before Hawaii, I went to Bevmo to get some new tequila.
Oh.
No, scratch that. I went to Bev Mode to get some little airplane bottles of whiskey for Totally Beverages and sometimes hot sauce. I go in there, nice young man at the counter helping me out. He cards me. Okay, are you ready for this? And goes, oh, wow. Hold on, let me check these notes because I wrote it down when it happened. Thought your birthday would have been 98. And I said, so I responded, haha, that's so funny. That license was taken a long time ago, that photo. Okay?
Okay.
Bear with me. I know you want to jump in to take me down a peg or two.
No, I don't. I'm processing a lot.
To which he said, oh, no, I know. And I was like, oh. And I was like kind of stunned. And I walked out. And then I was like, oh, this guy, he was guessing before my ID came out. This is what he does all day long. He's guessing people's ages. This is like a way to pass the time.
1998?
Yeah.
I could cry right now.
Now I had a mask on. So I was, the gray beard was covered up.
Okay.
But it felt good when
Yeah.
I put it all together. When he was like, no, not the ID.
Damn.
And I was like, damn. But then, do you want to share what happened to me with the TSA officer?
Yeah, I actually told this story in the room this morning.
Ruthless.
We were coming back from Hawaii, getting on the airplane, and in TSA line, you give your photo ID, and he looks at the ID, and they have you pull your mask down, and this guy just starts hysterically laughing. He goes, oh, man, you look hella young in this picture, meaning your ID picture.
Yes.
Versus, and I said, oh, yeah, those two kids have really, done their job, meaning and can I quote my boss? I told the story in
please.
Today was the first day of my job.
Yeah.
I hope it's okay that I'm quoting that, writers' rooms are sacred. But since it's related to you, I feel comfortable saying this.
Yeah.
He goes that Andy has been Obama'd by our kids.
Yes. But the guy, he straight up, no shame, laughed in my face. Mm-hmm. And not in he's going to laugh with me, haha, bro way. He kind of was.
I do think it was in a haha, bro way. Okay. And I was really scared he was going to say, oh, you too. I mean, I almost said, please don't say that to me.
You don't have anything to worry about. And you were looking fine this trip. You had the glow and your post glow, all that sun coming back. You were looking great.
Okay, thank you.
Anyways, it really took me down after a week or two earlier.
Man, life is funny. Don't ever get too comfortable.
1 second, you're chatting it up, thinking you're going to be super friends on Instagram, and the next moment, no follow back, right? We've learned
Yeah.
a lot.
Can I tell you something else?
Yeah.
We exchanged taking pictures of our families in like the one spot.
Yeah.
And I took a picture. Now I did it landscape. I didn't do it vertical, which I think it was a mistake.
Really?
She took excellent pictures of her family, like really good pictures. And I thought I had taken good pictures. And when for the few days that I was following her, she was posting a lot of Hawaii.
On the feed or in the stories?
Both. And our picture, the picture I took never showed up.
I love that that you noticed that.
I wonder what is wrong with me. Why didn't she like me?
I mean, did you do an inventory on your Instagram page?
No.
I wouldn't overthink it. You know what? I've had that. I've had sessions.
Yeah.
Sorry. I've had sessions where I followed the artists after the session and they don't follow me back. And I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, but they're not private accounts. There's a huge difference.
Yeah. That's true.
There's a huge difference. Accepting that and not just smashing that button. And I actually don't think I'm reading too much into it. You know, I think I have a pretty strong instinct about these things. And I think I got the impression that she was very polite and cordial. And so wasn't like giving off any like, I'm not into you vibes, but probably just wasn't into it.
How could someone not be into you, though?
That is so nice.
But
I mean, you're so biased, obviously.
No. I'm saying genuinely, though, like on a vacation, like you were so...
I might be too much of a, like, happy puppy.
Maybe you came on too strong.
I guess, but like, what the fuck else are we supposed to do? We're in there in the pool, like watching our kids. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I don't
Whatever.
think so. I don't know. I would love if she followed you right now.
Oh my God. I would die of embarrassment.
What I would love is if she follows Nobody's Listening, right?
Oh,
on
that's
Instagram.
Andy, don't even, okay, I actually do want you to edit
Wait, why would I edit that out?
because it feels like an invitation and like now I'm suddenly like I actually am like starting to sweat.
But
And it's yucky. It's like you're wishing something very, very upsetting on me.
But you want to be, you know something? Can I make you feel a little better about this whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. All you've done, right, for the last 20 minutes is put your heart out there and put yourself out there. And you've said nothing disparaging. You just wanted to be friends and you didn't get that back. So you should feel
Which, by
ashamed
the
of
way,
nothing.
I want to say again, is fine. You know, people go on vacations for lots of reasons. She's very busy and she has a very impressive job and works really hard. And I don't fault her for it. That's what I want to say.
Also, people with a private account, maybe, did you go down the wormhole because you did get accepted into, you made such a fatal error. I'm sorry. You unfollowed. So now if you followed again, you'd have to get permission. You can't do it.
I'm not going to follow again.
But you can't look like.
I have dignity. I mean, I don't, but I wish I did.
We can't do an inventory on their Instagram now and like see who they're following. Like maybe it's like very.
Who they're following.
Like maybe they're only following like 30 people. Did you look at that?
Yeah, she's following about 364 people. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Can I give an update about the my ADHD?
Yeah, and this is going to be a bit of an update episode, and then I think we'll get back into the swing of things because we also have some big bagel news.
Oh, yeah, we do. Okay. I just feel defeated in the bagel department.
Sure.
I just want to thank everybody that reached out when we were talking last week or the week before about me exploring maybe I have ADHD. Dyslexia has come up over the years on the podcast. Listeners have sent notes into us about that. Anyways, I finally decided to like really look into it, and today I had my part 1 of an evaluation. And it's a multiple step process, but it went great. I was very comfortable doing it, and I'm really excited to learn more. And I'm definitely going to share. I don't know anything more yet, but I'll probably know a lot more in the next few weeks, I would guess.
I'm relieved and excited, and I'm just so curious about how this is going to shift things. I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not sure this is painting me in the best light, but since this kind of revelation. And you've been very kind of steadfast at like, it might be or it might not be.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I will be shocked if there's not a whiff of it or whatever.
Sure.
And it's, I think I've talked in the past, especially when I'm PMSing, I get like really frustrated about things. And I've talked about your bedside table being a disorganized mess, which you've since organized. And there have been a few little things recently that I think normally I would go like, ugh, Andy, just for a second in my mind.
Yeah.
And knowing this about you, I have way more empathy for how you operate. I think it's buying you a lot of leeway in terms of like how you do things and how you operate, because it helps me understand why you do things differently than I might expect you to, or, like,
well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because if there isn't anything there, what is this going to mean?
Yeah. Then we'll have confirmation.
Hard for you.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I again, I just want to thank our listeners. So many people like wrote in like everything from like their own stories to super helpful advice, like running the gamut. Is that the way you say it? It was just really sweet, and I like really appreciate it. And I'm like kind of glad I can share whatever this is with people too. And we'll definitely document it here.
And will you tell us just like broad strokes of kind of what today entailed?
Yeah, today I met
how
with
do they
a
even test?
psychologist, and it was like an hour and a half interview, mostly just about like my history and stuff. So like everything from like how reading is for me, what was school like? I can't ever remember people's names, that stuff.
Right.
Family history. What other kinds of things? Drug use. And then kind of very specific questions. And then things that were like, they were like, this might not make any sense, but like, are you a picky eater? Like
really?
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the next phase is, I guess I have a few different, I'm guessing they're like surveys or paperwork or something that I need to fill out. I have the first one to do, but I haven't clicked on the link yet. But I have like 3 things like that. And then an additional interview. That's like the first phase of all of this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really proud of you for following through on it. And I think it's going to, no matter what, it's going to be illuminating. Hopefully it will alleviate a lot of what your concerns have been about the way you operate, the memory stuff that we talked about. By the way, someone did message me through our Instagram, Nobody's Listening Right, with actual like links and articles backing up what I was saying, which I know you didn't love because it felt like I was dismissing your concerns, but that this post-COVID trauma, like truly scientifically has been proven to have fucked with our short-term memory and cognitive abilities and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get on to the important stuff. How do you toast your bagel? Andy put it out to the world last week, and we posted a video on our Instagram. Nobody's listening, right? It was a near landslide.
And I couldn't be more surprised, and I'm admitting defeat, if you will. Mm-hmm. I thought that way was absurd. And it turns out that's the way 75% of people are, like a landslide majority.
Conservatively, yes.
Yeah, are toasting their bagels. And
Tits up.
Tits up, interesting. Tits up. And what a kind of lesson I learned here. I don't assume anything.
I also want to say we got this fun comment on this because we were talking last week about your fear of swimming.
Okay.
You know, I'm about to get really philosophical, but like life is short, as we know, or it's long, depending on what your viewpoint is, what kind of day you're having. But anything can happen at any moment in time.
Yeah.
If you're in Hawaii and you meet a really cool gal who seems to have the world at her fingertip, you want to make friends with her, put yourself out there and try to make friends with her. If she doesn't follow you back, then you know.
Then
and you
unfollow her. Move on.
You unfollow her. Someone commented about swimming in unsafe shore conditions, trying to keep up with her uninhibited brother-in-law, got sucked into a crazy trio of waves, almost drowned, lost her bikini bottoms, exposed her partially nude body to her 3 young nephews watching from afar. It's her favorite thing to tease her about still to this day, but was obviously very scary.
Yeah.
And listen, the conditions in Hawaii couldn't have been more docile. And you definitely were a champ about getting into the sea with your children, getting into the pool with our kids. Neither of our kids are fully strong solo swimmers yet.
Yeah.
But the first day of Kids Club, I really, really wanted to go snorkeling, which is a very magical experience for me. One of my kind of all-time favorite things to do.
Yeah.
And you were all set to go snorkeling, and we got there, and you were like, you know what? It's not for me.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, I was really proud of you because I think we just have to be true to ourselves.
Yeah.
Was I a little bit bummed, that my husband wasn't going to go snorkeling with me? Yes. But
And I was bummed too. The day before, we'd gone on a canoe trip thing. Again, very docile waters. But on that canoe trip thing, there were parts where I was really uncomfortable and got a little seasick. And when we were out there, I had the thought I'm just not a water guy like this.
Yeah.
And then later in the pool, I never even told you this. I'm such a shitty swimmer. Our daughter was like, let's do, I forget what they call freestyle little kids, but I really can't swim that well. And so I'm would so be an easy goner. And then the next day when you wanted to go out snorkeling, and you had gone a couple days before with our daughter, and I was going to go, but our son, he checked out at the last minute and didn't want to do it, which I was a little relieved when it happened.
Yeah.
But anyways, so you're getting ready to snorkel, and I was thinking fucking, we're in Hawaii, magic, go snorkeling with your wife. Everything on paper sounds great. But then my gut was you're not a fucking water guy. Yesterday in the boat, you came to the realization you're not a water guy.
Yeah.
You're going to be uncomfortable out there.
Yeah.
You're going to want to go back early. And I told you, I know I'm not, it's not going to be fun
I
for
think
me.
there's something so freeing as you get further in life, accepting these truths about yourself. And I'm going to say right now, I don't love to hike. It's something that I like the idea of it, and I like the idea of being the person who likes to go on hikes. And in LA, that's a thing you do. Everyone goes on hikes. I mean, I like to see a waterfall and stuff, but I don't find it to be fun.
Yeah.
And so I think just accepting that about yourself, and this kind of goes back to the end of what I was saying last week, which is about pleasure,
With the
seeking
bagels.
pleasure bagels tits up, bagels tits down. Whatever you want to do is good for you. There's no right way.
Yeah.
And there's no right way to enjoy Hawaii. There's no wrong way to enjoy Hawaii.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I wanted to commend you for that.
Well, and I appreciate that you accepted that, and I think we have come to a nice point in our middle-aged lives where it's like, why put yourself through it if you don't want it? Pleasure. Do what pleases you.
Yes. And I do feel so lucky that our life is like very chock full of pleasure. I went to my first day back at work today after like a 2-month, more than that, hiatus.
Yeah.
Very excited to be starting season 5 of A Million Little Things.
Nice.
It's our first day back in the room on the show ever.
Yeah. Wow.
In person. We've been on Zoom for as long as I've been on the show. The last time I was in a writer's room was on
COVID.
I'm Sorry.
No, that's not true.
Yes.
No, The Village.
No. The Village was in between seasons of I'm Sorry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's crazy. I was really anxious. Like I didn't really sleep last night because I was like, it felt like, going to a new school, but with kids, from it's just weird adjusting to being in person
I bet.
versus on Zoom. But it was really, we're starting out with a small room and we're going to expand to a bigger room. And it honestly was not anywhere near as weird as I thought it would be. However, and it went by really fast. Like on my drive home, I mean, it wasn't like the world's longest day, but on my drive home, I thought like, that saying, if you do what you love, it doesn't feel like work. Mm-hmm. It really is true. I mean, sometimes it does feel like work, but like today went by so fast.
Yeah.
I'm with literally all people that I would seek out hanging out with outside of work.
Yeah, yeah.
And dear friends. And I just feel so fortunate that's what I get to do.
Do you think it would have been different had it not been in person? Are you saying that's like a pro for being in person?
I think it kind of is. It's nice to start out this way on the season. And I mean, I would love, I don't want to speak out of turn because like truly I'm fine with whatever. It's work and it's my job and I'm happy to do whatever anyone wants. But I would love it if it were a hybrid so I can not be in traffic every single day of the week and also like see the kids for dinner. And, as we get going, hours will get longer and things like that. But it was really nice. And I feel like there are certain things you just miss on Zoom that in person, like there were a lot of laughs today, a lot of joking. We also talked about a lot of very serious stuff. But anyway, where was I going with this? Pleasure, being lucky. Oh, what I was just going to say is using my brain, though, like brain power.
Yeah.
When I got home, and I had a fantastic day.
Yeah.
I was like jazzed driving home. I was listening to Tracy Chapman, doing as you do. I could not even function. And I had to go lay down for like 30 minutes.
First day back. Yeah, that makes sense. You were just
my brain was so tired from working like that.
You hadn't been doing that. Hadn't been getting any exercise.
That's what it is. It feels
sitting on the couch eating popcorn and candy for 3 months.
You're doing a metaphor for my brain.
Yeah, not for you.
I don't want to be Jesus Christ. That's why I weigh you every day. You've just been sitting on that couch eating popcorn and candy. Although speaking of Hawaii,
yeah,
it was illuminating. Okay, I'm going to get vulnerable here for a minute about body stuff. As everyone knows, I deal with this.
Okay.
One of the things I've had a very hard time letting go of, and it's so ingrained in me, is weighing myself.
Oh,
I can hear like people screaming because the like main tenet of body positivity is to like get.
How often do you weigh yourself?
Every day.
When?
In the morning.
But how? I feel like I would hear the scale coming out.
I just pop it in and pop it out.
I've never heard that.
Very good. No, I'm just
But
kidding.
are you trying to sneak the scale?
No,
movement?
no.
Oh,
I'm not.
Okay. I'm just curious. Because
I mean,
scales have
and
a noise.
actually,
Do you know what I'm
what?
talking about?
You know
like
what?
they have a
You know what I will
sound.
say?
Yeah.
It's not every day.
Okay.
It's many mornings, and then sometimes I'm literally just too tired. And then there have been long periods of time where I've been intentionally not doing that because I'm trying to like really untie myself to my weight mattering to me or defining my value. And I've gotten like I've gotten to a pretty good place on and off, I'd say. But recently feeling really like I'm healing a lot of that stuff, and I'm listening to these great podcasts that are really helpful. But for some reason, whenever the like self-doubt creeps in, there's something about weighing myself and just being like, okay, I haven't, like, my fear is that if I'm not like restricting or even being conscientious about any of it, that I'm just like gonna gain all sorts of weight, which also should be fine.
Okay.
You know, is so fucked up and layered for me. But going on a trip like this and going into the trip already feeling like in a pretty good place about things,
Okay.
really not feeling that tied to my weight or whatever. This is more just of a scientific observation. I assumed while we were there, I would have gained a good amount of weight because I was mainlining pina coladas and
Oh, yeah.
a lot of
We were eating a lot and drinking
eating
a lot.
and drinking a lot.
Yeah.
I just find it interesting that we came back and gained any weight.
There you go.
And it was very validating to me because it's like, your body knows what it's doing. And you know why? Because I was relaxed and I was swimming a bunch and I wasn't stressing it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know why else?
Tell me.
Another trip like that, I think in the past when I was tied up in all of that shit, I would have gone into it being like, okay, well now I'm on vacation. I'm going to be bad. And like, I'm going to indulge as much as I possibly can because I'm only allowed to for this week.
Oh, interesting.
And I didn't do that either. The
Right.
only thing I probably did that with was like pina coladas because
But
there's not another time in
were
my
you-
life where I'm having those.
were you consciously not doing it, or were you just unconsciously not doing it?
Unconsciously. I was not like normally, okay, you know I love dessert and I live for dessert, and going to restaurants for me is like
Yeah.
dessert time.
Yeah.
Just as much as it is for anyone else being like, I'm going to get the steak. For me, I'm there truly to like find out what the dessert situation is.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like it that much during this trip, probably because I was having pina coladas.
Yeah.
But we really didn't have. We had
don't-
2 desserts during the whole
That's
time we
true.
were there, and
Yeah.
I wasn't taking note of it. I'm taking note of it now, looking back on it. But it was such a validating thing for me to trust my body, and the assumption I made about it was not actually accurate.
Gotcha.
Which was that I would have gone, had that week there, come back. Now, normally I would probably have gone, had that week there, come back and be like, oh my gosh, now I have to undo that and start restricting and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Whereas I just get to keep on living my life, which is great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
I would like to break the habit of weighing myself and caring about what I weigh. It's really hard. Like, I went to get a physical recently, and he was like, you know, everything looks good, and you're, you know, you lost 4 pounds in the last 2 years or whatever, which I'm glad about. Like, little comments like that, where it's just like reiterated constantly.
Yeah.
And then being in Hawaii, you know, it is hard being in a bathing suit, and I won't lie and say I felt like super confident at all times in my body while we were there, because you're surrounded by women who fit society's, you know, ideals very accurately. But
I don't think you
whatever.
realize how stunning you looked.
Oh,
on the
thanks.
trip. Seriously.
Okay, here. Oh, this is. I thought about bringing this up, and I hesitate to because I don't want this to change about you. I really don't.
Okay.
I rely on your view of me being the same.
Okay.
I had a devastating realization while we were in Hawaii because I forget when it was, but there was one point in time where you were like, you look so beautiful. Like, I want to take pictures. Like, let's get pictures with the kids or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Like, blah, blah, blah. And then I went and looked in the bathroom mirror and I was like, okay, Andy for sure sees me through some like kind of fucking crazy rose colored glasses. Cause I had been wearing goggles, like my face had indentations and like mascara running. Like,
Well, mascara running is like my thing.
No, that's not true. But it was like a devastating affirmation of my worst fear, which is just that you see me in this way that I'm so appreciative of, but that is so out of touch with reality.
I think the much more likely thing is you see yourself in a more distorted way. I think that's much more likely.
That's nice.
And I also wonder what the reality of that is for like everyone. Like, do you think you know how I look better than I do? Or do I know how I look better than you do?
Okay, well, I'm curious if this is an ADHD thing.
How so?
I know how you look better than you do. And I know this because you don't even look at yourself. Like, some days you wash your face and brush your teeth and are heading out. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what is, I don't even know what an example is, but like you have magic marker like all over your forehead and cheek. How did you not notice that? You don't like look at yourself. And whereas I'm like, I know every pore, none of it's, and I don't want to disparage myself too much. Like, there were definitely moments in Hawaii where I was like, ooh, I feel good. I look good. And also acutely aware that looks aren't everything. I feel like we talk about, I'm going through something, so I'm talking about this a lot, but I want to reassure our nobodies that this does not probably define me to myself as much as it seems like it does. Like, I'm at a stage in my life where no matter how I'm feeling about how I look, I'm not letting it stop me from enjoying things in life. Okay. Like, I'm going out there and snorkeling and I'm, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yes, I know how you look better than you know how you look.
That's kind of annoying to hear, but you're probably right.
But I do think, and I think especially probably with women, and also I feel, I know, and I hope, and I know that like the younger generation has a much healthier approach to things in general. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, although I don't know, like we know a teenage girl that I go on her Instagram and it's literally like the only thing she and her friends are posting to each other is like, oh my God, you're so hot. Oh my God, you're so pretty. Stop it. You're so pretty. Stop it. Da, da, da. And it's like, I don't know. I say this, but like a lot of the young people I know, especially in Los Angeles, have a much healthier relationship with their appearance. Like, I don't think they were raised at the time that I was, where it was just like thinness matters above everything. I feel like our parents' generations that kind of instilled that in us, hopefully, are adjusting to a new reality. We have examples of bodies of all shapes and sizes that are beautiful and celebrated on social media. Like, a lot has changed that's really positive. And I actually think about that. Like, I think about Ashley Graham. Sometimes if I'm feeling like, I thought about her in Hawaii when I had a swimsuit on and I was next to some like very successful women who were also, whatever. And I thought, like, she is so fucking stunning and knows it. And it's okay for me too. That's another thing I think is moving through the world as someone who's not super thin or whatever. there's almost a guilt that comes with you just accepting your body. And this is not something I'm making up. I know a lot of women who are on Instagram who are regular sized models or plus size models or whatever. If they post pictures of themselves, like anytime Lizzo posts a picture, she's getting hate from men who basically are like, how dare you love yourself? And so it's not like something I'm making up in my head. But anyway, I do think about those positive role models like Ashley Graham, and it gives me kind of a boost.
Yeah.
It's important. And I've bent over backwards for our kids to not have any even whiff or trace of that.
Right.
To the degree that I think I told you this, like that I overheard Teddy saying something about something being fat. And like later walking to school, I was like, hey, I heard you saying that something was fat, and just, I want you to know, like, bodies come in all different shapes and sizes, and whatever body that person has is perfect for them. And like went on this whole long diatribe. And then she was like, what? And it was like, well, I heard you this morning saying that calling something fat. And she was like, it was like the fat cat from the cartoon or something. And I was like, oh yeah, right. Whoops.
Yeah.
Anyway. Thoughts?
I agree with everything that you say. I feel like I
I want that to be our clip this week, is just that quote from you. I agree with everything you say.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think our work here is done.
We did it.
We did it. All right. Well, thank you, Nobodies, for listening.
Yeah.
Check us out on Nobody's Listening Right. Andy's been making these awesome video clips every week that I get such a kick out of the interactions on and feedback on. So please keep it up. If you have any comments on this episode,
Put them there.
put them there. I'd love to build like a community, the way we've had in the past where people are interacting there. And like, if you have stories about body positivity, about trying to make friends on vacation, about any more ADHD information, tits up, tits down bagels, leave it there. And so hopefully other people can start to connect and see it. Another thing I wanted to say, this is not super official, but you and I have talked about dabbling in occasionally doing a listener question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally.
But we will only be taking them via Instagram because it helps us know that it's coming from an actual real person, pretty much, mostly.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any questions you want us to weigh in on.
Yeah, historically we had like relationship questions, which I think we're open to, but I'd honestly love some like fucking random questions, right? Like anything that you were curious what our take might be on it.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there. Anything.
I love it all. So, and if you don't want to have it public, feel free to just DM us or whatever. It's all good.
Oh yeah, DM us, and then you can say if you want to be anonymous when we talk about the question.
Right.
Perfect.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, and good night.
Good night. Shh.